Be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together.
Welcome everybody to another episode of The Chairman Project with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros. And today we're going to be talking about selling your business, about exiting. That's the outcome, right? Build something up, you want to exit it, and you want to build up your wealth and your freedom, your ability to make choices, your ability to guide your life in a specific way, whatever way you want to. That's really why we're here. And I'm going to remind everybody, because we're gathering new viewers, sort of at week to week. And I want to always just remind those of you that are new that we're so grateful to have you. What this environment stands for, what the Built to Exit community stands for. And it really just comes down to you. These conversations are always like I'm having a one-on-one sit-down conversation with somebody. Number one, those of you that have followed me, you know that in the early part of my career, I had some business failures, learned an immense amount from that, was able to travel with Tony Robbins to gain and talk to unbelievable. I would have never had any access to some of the quality of business owners that I did for the years that I was traveling with Tony Robbins. And I took that and I built a system. The very beginnings, the outline of what has now become the Built to Exit systems that have been used by thousands of people around the world in their own businesses, including my own. So that was in the very beginning. Went to work with Tony, built my systems, began a career as a turnaround specialist, and then got tired of making everybody else a bunch of money, started buying my own companies, and perfected really over those years, not for the purpose of being here talking to you, helping coach, consulting business, all that, but it was the purpose of creating my own freedom with my own businesses. That's why I did it. Those systems were built much like you. Again, one-on-one conversation, much like you. You have an objective in mind. You have, whether it's articulated clearly or not, but you have an outcome for your own life that your business is a vehicle to be able to get you there. You hope, right? We hope. I did in the beginning. I had 3 back-to-back failures. I had the same hope in every one of them, and then learned a whole bunch of things. And as Joe Callow, who's here with me, the president of Anton J, he's here live, by the way, on Twitter at the J Sisneros. Follow us there. Come there, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every Saturday morning. This is we're live. You're watching this on recording. If you're watching my face, you're watching this on recording. But we're live right now on Twitter with a group of people who give a crap about their business and come every single week to learn new strategies and tools to be able to exit for themselves, to be able to build their own desired outcome, to be able to build their own freedom, to build their ability to have choices. So anyway, so that linked up. I started buying companies for myself, building that up, built it into my own private equity firm, no partners, no debt, no investors, and then sold that in 2019. One of the companies I kept was my consulting company that we started years ago, really years ago, to be able to educate business owners on how to prep up for somebody like me to walk in to buy their business. And we were having a hard time at the time, because business brokers, there's some great ones out there. Let me say that. There's some great ones out there, but there's very few of them that know what they're doing, and they're giving false hope to a lot of people because they're not actually educating them on what somebody wants to buy. That's what we're going to do a little bit of today. So we're going to do that today. I also want to welcome, I know that there's a bunch of people that are following me, and they are watching, and they're business coaches and business consultants. Please reach out. We love, there was back in the day, I used to be a little wary about people following and taking my content and stealing it. Well, look, here's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to create a community of people, of businesses and coaches and consultants that all come together around an idea. We have to protect our baby of being of the community of small and mid-sized companies, 0 to 499. We do 60% of the GDP, and we do 60% of the hiring. And by the way, that is one of the greatest tools, right? Not the only one, but one of the greatest tools for us to be able to enjoy what everybody says is, I want to have freedom. Economics is a part of that. Owning a business is a great, not one of the greatest tool to be able to create economic freedom for you and your family. There's lots of ways to do it. I don't talk about those here. I talk about N2 business owners. So all that being said is that that's what we're going to talk about today. And for business coaches and business consultants, welcome. I'm glad you're here. But back in the day, we used to be worried about stuff getting stolen. I want you to take my stuff. There's a way for you to join us to become certified as a built to exit strategist. Just reach out, and even if you don't, these podcasts that you're watching are going to help you improve your relationship and your outcome and your results for your clients who are business owners. If you're a business owner and you have somebody on the inside of your company that you want to execute on this stuff, reach out to us. We have systems, processes, the built to exit system. It's 28 hours of content. And if you yourself are a business owner who is an implementer, it's one of the greatest tools. And then if you want hands-on help, you've got a little bigger company and you want hands-on help, I've got the greatest team ever built in the history of mankind at the Built to Exit headquarters. And so we can help you with that as well. All right, so let's get into this conversation about wanting to sell your business. Now, I have to overcome a couple of myths right in the beginning, because most people that are listening, this is what I have found over time, is that most business owners, oddly, don't think that they have a business that they can exit, that they can sell. They look at it like it's the cash flow that's coming in, and they harbor like greater fantasies of eventually this is going to be something that I can make enough money and start another business or whatever it is. But I find this to be one of the uniquely odd things about business owners, is that most of us don't think that our business can be sold. And there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. It's like, oh, other people, I hear about these $10 million exits and these $100 million exits and these, whatever, that you hear about all those things. But in the meantime, you're like, who's going to want to buy this thing? Like, I don't even want to be here very much. I have to be here. And so really that's the journey, is the moving to an exit is going from the I have to be here to I get to be here to I love being here, or to I'm ready to leave this and move on. Number one crucial understanding about your business, okay? Number one crucial, and we're going to get into what to do to sell and et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't have this principle, this core understanding about your business, then you're going to misappropriate, right? Misappropriate resources. And the resources I'm talking about are your money and your time and your expertise and those things that you have at your disposal for resources. So the number one understanding is that your business is an asset. Okay. Somebody write that down. Give me a hallelujah. My business is an asset. We hear over and over and over again, the biggest investment you're ever going to have is your home. No, well, that may be true for Joe Public, but this is a business show. We're talking to business owners. And so your biggest asset that you're ever going to own is going to be the thing that you call your business. We don't view it like that, right? We don't view it like that because I'll give you my excuse for not viewing it like that. In my first 3 ventures that failed miserably, is that I had no idea what the hell an asset was. I was a poor kid from nowhere, from nothing. And all of a sudden, I got this great opportunity to start a business, mainly because I didn't have a high school diploma and I didn't have a lot of things and a lot of skill sets coming out of that and my background, which those of you that have watched my podcast before know what that was. I didn't have a lot of so getting this opportunity to have a business and completely and totally recreate a future that I didn't know was possible for myself. I came in, I didn't really know what an asset was. I didn't know my assets from my ass, so to speak. And so understanding that your business is an asset, it gives you just a perspective shift, like a 2-degree perspective shift for you to be able to look at it and go, oh, it's an asset, right? There's a great saying that we've said a lot here, and you should write this down as well, which is my business. I'm not my business is not me. I'm building an asset. And in any asset, think of your home for just a moment, right? There are different asset classes, right? We'll talk about your home in just a second, but there's different asset classes. Like you have an asset that may be your vehicle. It's a depreciating asset, but it's an asset. You have a home, right? That's an asset that should be appreciating over time. You have a savings account. That's an asset. You have stocks and bonds, maybe that's an asset. You have paintings. You have an inheritance. You have whatever it is. An asset is something that you own that can be transferred and translated into cash if needed. Okay, that's that. And there's different assets, and there's appreciating assets and investments that continue to grow over time so that eventually, right? Eventually, and this is the target audience, this is the target market, right? For us is to get to a place where we don't have to, HAVE, we don't have to work anymore, and our money is coming in regardless of whether we get up and go to work or whether we get on a boat and we sail the 7 seas or we go start a charity or whatever it is. That's the end game, whether it's articulated or not. That's the end game for everybody playing this game, this intellectual sport that we play called business. Okay, that's the end game. And so to view your business as an asset is crucial step, platform number 1 for you to step on and go, I'm building an asset. All right. So what are you building that asset for? Strategic end game. I'm just going to go through some things that you guys have heard me say before so that you understand it. You've got to have a strategic end game. Your asset is meant to create that end game for you that is very personal, right? That's very personal. That means you, your wife, your husband, your kids, your grandma, your grandpa, you're single, whatever it is. There's a very personal place that you get to that has a number that says to you that now I don't have to answer to anybody else, right? This fiercely independent group of people called business owners, we forget what we're building for. We're building because we don't want anybody to tell us what the hell to do and where we have to be, right? We also like the game that we play. We like being valuable. We like progress. We like challenging ourselves. We like getting better with our skill sets. We like all of that stuff. And we don't stop doing that, but there is a place where the game gets a lot easier, and that's your very own personal, one-on-one, only you know what that number is for you to be and feel free, okay? Economically speaking. So you get to that place, that's where you're building your asset to be able to take you to, right? It's taking you to that place. Now, you look at your asset and you say, okay, my business is my biggest asset currently. How do I build that to be able to create that economic, personal end game for myself? Right? You architect, and then you architect your blueprint. Right? How am I going to get there? What am I going to do? What are the steps that I'm going to take? And then you execute, measure, and adjust. We talk about that all the time on the show. We talk about it all the time on the show because that's what we do. Built to exit is very specialty. It's a very specialty sort of place, right? We help companies exit. Relationships with the people that would buy your company, all of those things. We know I exited myself first and then have helped multiple people exit along the way to their level of whatever they just defined as exit. That's what we do, period, end of sentence. If you own a business, it can be sold. Know that, understand that, own that. If you own a business, it can be sold. There is somebody who will buy your business if it is built as an asset that is in shape to be acquired, right? It's just like your home. Let's use that analogy real quick, right? Your home. You buy a house, obviously, just like your business, there is a functional use to you buying your home. You need a roof over your head. You need a place to raise your kids. You need to have a sanctuary. You have to, all of the reasons why you have a home are the same reasons why you have a business. Now, your house as an asset, you don't trash your house. What do? You continually upkeep it, right? You go into it, you say, okay, here's the house that I want. If you're having it built, you bring in an architect, you build the thing out to exactly the specs that you want, and then you live in that house. Always with the thought process behind, may want another house at some point in time. I may want to upsize. I may want to downsize. I may want to move across the country. I may want to sell this and live in multiple places. Whatever the outcome is, it's as unique an outcome why you buy your home as it is for your end game for your business. Hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has helped hundreds of clients and thousands of growth course students fix, scale, and successfully master their businesses. To put it simply, my team and I help people turn their businesses into machines that create cash. To better support startups and other mid-sized companies, my team and I developed a phenomenal and comprehensive digital growth course where I poured decades of business ownership and know-how into 20 hours of content. This course is not easy. It's not an easy pill, but it demands real work from you to implement the blueprints that I've developed. We know that reaching financial freedom is never easy, but totally worth it. Go to growthcourse.com right now to learn more about the course and get started on your business journey today. Right, starting to see the connections here. So in your home, what you're not going to do is move into that home that you just purchased, that you just bought, that you now own, right? Or the bank owns, but then you're paying, whatever the scenario is for you. But you now own that. You're not going to move into it and start trashing it. You're not going to move in and start trashing it. Why? Because you will devalue the asset. You will make it worth less than what you bought it for. You keep it up. Number one, to maintain your own security, just like your business. You need to maintain your business for your own security while you're building it to exit. You're maintaining your home so that the eventuality could come about that it becomes an asset that you pass on to your children or one that you can exit and sell to somebody else. It has to be in shape. It has to have the things that people are looking for. It has to have some appeal, curb appeal, for somebody else to buy your asset. And most of us are buying and building businesses without that thought process in mind, that I'm building an asset so that I can eventually exit. Regardless, if you want to stay in your business, stay in your business. If you want to stay in your home, you stay in your home. But you want to position it and build it to where it's an asset that somebody else wants to buy. Because every single step, catch this, every single step of you building your business to a place where somebody else will buy it is optimizing the amount of cash that you will get out of your business for yourself while you're living in it, while you're running it. Those same principles to build it to something that somebody else wants to buy will optimize the cash flow that you have inside of your business. It will optimize the amount of money that you take off the table. We've talked about there's three types of cash. One is profit, which is kind of a fantasy, right? Number two is your operating cash flow. Number three, the magic money, is your free cash flow. So your business, you're going to optimize the amount of free cash flow, the money you can take off the table, do what you want to with it, right? Put it in your retirement account, pay for your kids' college, whatever it is, and to be able to take that off the table, and it doesn't affect the upward percentage growth of your business. It doesn't interrupt operations at all, right? So we look into that and we go, okay, cool. I've now come to the understanding, thank you, Jason Sisneros, very much for educating me on the fact that I am building an asset, right? My business is not me. I am not my business. I'm building an asset that needs to be crafted in such a way that somebody else needs. Thank you, Jason. I didn't realize that about my business. Every business, let me say it again. Every business, everybody listening to me, everybody that you're going to share this with, everybody that owns what they call a business can be sold. There is somebody that will buy that business once it is completely and totally structured the way that they want to buy it. It's the same with your product or service. We talk about it here. Fall in love with the outcome of your target audience. Fall in love with the outcome of your client. Think of your business as just another product. And you want to fall in love with the outcome of the person who's going to buy it. I'm going to give you what they want. I'm going to give you here at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you exactly what it is that they want to buy so that you can fall in love with it and build it while you're actually building your company and taking cash flow off the table to support you and your lifestyle and the way that you live your life. Okay. So let's see. All right. So let's talk a little bit about who is going to either help you sell your business, or who will buy your business. Let's talk a little bit about that so that you can understand whose outcome you're falling in love with as you're building your asset called a business. You have business brokers, okay? Not my favorite people. You know that if you've been following me for the last few years, you understand. Not my favorite group of people. There's some amazing business brokers out there, but there's very few of them. Now, the reason why is because they don't have to be super sophisticated, and the businesses that they're really going to represent are going to be on the smaller side, right? Let's say from $1 million to $3 million. $1 million to $3 million, you're not really big enough for, to interest smart buyers. And we'll get to, and smart, it's not an intellectual thing, it's a process thing. But smart buyers that you got to be a little bit bigger. We got to talk about that kind of stuff. But business brokers are one group of people that will help you sell your business if they're the right ones. If you need to know the right business brokers to talk to, if you're in that 1 to 3 million range, reach out to us. We've done a lot of vetting. We know who are the good ones and who are the ones that are just trying to rip you off and overinflate your numbers and tell you a great big story. So the next one, which I call smart buyers, are private equity. Private equity businesses are incredibly dialed in, okay? And again, there are some bad ones, but there's more good ones, more great private equity firms than there are bad ones. It's the exact flip of business brokers. Private equity firms know exactly what they're doing, and they're going to dial in to buy your business. And I'm going to tell you what they look for, because this is really the ideal state for you to build your business. This is what we do. We build businesses to be acquired by private equity firms. That's what we do. That's built to exit. We build companies to exit and be acquired by private equity firms. Okay. So there's going to be a couple different types of purchases. They're going to buy you out completely. There'll be a partial buyout, where they give you part of the money up front and expect you to help run it for a period of time. There's roll-up strategies where they're going out and they're buying a group of businesses, in their strategies. You have strategic buyers. You have people that are already in your industry, and they're looking to improve what's called density. Okay, they just want more. They want to own the market, whether where you are or nationwide or their strategy. It's a strategic roll-up. And there's ways that they buy companies that you'll need to be prepared for as well. And then you have the private purchase. Okay, this is somebody that just is wandering around going, you know what? I just came out of a corporate job. I got a nice buyout. I've invested my whole entire life. Now I have some money and I want to invest it into a business so that I have something to do, or they're adding to their own portfolio of activities. All right. Those are the basic 4 types of people. Now we have ESOPs, which is when your employees will buy the business. There's some more sophisticated ways of looking at this. You may have a succession, which means that you've built your business and you want to pass it on to your children. All of these are potential exit opportunities. Hence, the reason why you have to be clear on your end game so that you know what you're building your business to do, okay? I'm going to give you the one that I think that if you prep up for them, then all of the other potentials are on the table, and kind of what they look for and how you can do that for your business. Now, let's talk a little bit about when you sell your business. What is the baseline conversation that you're going to have? Now, there's varying lots of, and by the way, I always have to say this is not financial advice. This is based off my own experience and what we do in Built to Exit, okay? And so it's not financial advice, but this is the way for you to look at when you are looking to exit your business, you have to understand the very first conversation that you're going to have is going to be around an idea of EBITDA. Look it up. I'm not going to educate you on what EBITDA is, but it's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation. Just look it up. Look into the concept of EBITDA. That's a number that basically says after liabilities and assets, right? You have your assets and you have liabilities, and the difference between the two is going to be what's called EBITDA. And that gives you a starting point of valuing your business. Again, a lot more complicated than we know how to do this. If you need our help, let us know. But just for the purpose of you, now you've come to the conclusion that your business is an asset and you want to prep it up for the possibility of someone acquiring it. This is where the conversation starts with everybody. You come to an EBITDA. Now, 3 types of EBITDA. 3 types. The very first one is basically your as-is EBITDA, all right? It's what you're reporting to the government. It's going to be the lowest form, okay? So if somebody comes in, you're uneducated, you don't know the 3 types of EBITDA, somebody comes in and goes, oh, let's look at your books. Oh, here's your EBITDA. You hand them that number and they put a multiple on it. There's a big, thick book for every industry that's out there that tells you the multiple of which companies in your particular bracket are selling. Okay. And it'll tell you, all right, your company, whatever your EBITDA is, you multiply that times 5. It has a 5 times EBITDA, and it'll tell you that's what your is. Sometimes there's 10, sometimes there's 20. It depends. Okay. There is a common number that you find out that you can get as a multiple on your sale. Everything from here until the end of the show and everything that Built to Exit does is to take whatever that common multiple is, because it's the lowest common denominator. It's like somebody coming in and lowballing you on your house, right? Everything that we do is to get you to a place where you know that number, and then to optimize it, to take it, if it's 5x in that book, we want to get a 6, 7, 8, 10, 20x. And you can do that by improving the quality of your asset. And improving the quality of the asset means that you are going to improve the quality of your EBITDA. Okay, and I'm going to tell you all of the ways that we improve the quality of your EBITDA. It's just like, okay, I'm going to put a pool in my house. What did you do? You improved the asset. We went out and we re-roofed the house. I just improved my. Everything that we do to improve the quality of your business gets you a higher multiple for your exit. And by the way, improves your cash flow and your ability to take free cash flow off the table along that journey. Okay. So now the 3 types of EBITDA, let's go back to that. You have basically like an as-is EBITDA. That's what you're reporting to the government. It's the lowest form of your EBITDA that's there. Now, second type, which is you have to know what this is and how to deal with it, but it's called adjusted EBITDA. And all that means is basically if you're taking money out for vacations or you're taking money off the table, your free cash flow, all that kind of stuff to reduce your tax burden, to invest in other things, whatever, but it's coming out of that business. Adjusted EBITDA puts all that back in to give a trued up valuation of what your company is at that snapshot in time. Okay, that's your adjusted EBITDA. Now, the EBITDA that is going to get you your highest and best number, and by the way, everything else that comes up until that point, and I mean that, everything. The amount of time you have for yourself, the amount of cash flow you're taking out of the business, the amount of stress that you have, all of this stuff comes down to this valuation, which is pro forma adjusted EBITDA. Pro forma adjusted EBITDA, when somebody comes in and looks at it, and we'll get to that here in just a second as well. But when you're looking at pro forma adjusted EBITDA, what that does is that tells somebody that's buying it that you're now looking into the future. You know that if you had another $5 million, you could acquire two of your competitors, and that would drive up your profit margins because you're competing at a price point right now. You know that tells you that here's the expected growth for you because you know the geographic move in and move outs of the city and the geographic location that you met. In other words, a pro forma adjusted EBITDA means that you are an educated business owner. You are an educated seller of the thing that you are packaging up and preparing for the optimal buyer to get the optimal buyout to get the optimal amount of cash. Okay? Those are the three types of EBITDA. Are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com. Now, do you know your EBITDA? Yes or no, right? Do you know what that is for your own company? And I know that there's a stair step and a waterfall of realizations that you may be coming to in this show. Number one is that you have an asset called a business. Number two, you should always be keeping that asset built in such a way that somebody can come in and acquire it, whether you sell it or not, whether you want to die in your chair, whether you want to keep it forever, whether you want to pass it on to your children, whatever your outcome is, your company should always be built to exit. Right? That's worthy of writing down. My company should always be built to exit. Right? So, we got the EBITDA. That's how you value it. Now, let's jump into the highest valuation. Let's talk about, and there's many more of these, and there's a lot of detail inside of the four that I'm going to tell you, but that's why we're here. You can reach out to us at any point in time if you need this help when you come to this realization. That's why Built to Exit, why Anton J, why we exist in the first place. That's what we've been doing for a long time. I did it for myself, and we've done it with Anton J for 14, 15 years at this point. And we're going to continue doing that because our community needs it right now. Right? Our community, which is the small to medium-sized companies, we need this information. Now, the four things, and again, other things that are necessary, but inside of these four things, it'll give you a great idea of the four things that you can focus on starting today to be able to build your company to exit. Number one, if I'm the smartest buyer out there, private equity firm, what I want to know when I come in and look at, first off, we already talked about EBITDA. Okay, I'm looking at your EBITDA. Looks like in our zone of something that I'm interested in buying. The next thing I'm going to ask is, what is your relationship to your customers? Okay, what is your relationship to your customers? Why is that important? Because as I'm coming in, you're selling the past, I'm buying the future. And so the core of what you have is called a customer base. Right? What is your relationship to those customers? What's the length of the contracts that you have? Do you have subscription-based customers? Right? What's the lifetime value of the customer that you do have? What's the churn? Right? What's the percentage of people? What are the what's the word I'm looking for? What is the number of repetitive purchases? Right? That's built into your LTV, but it's something to keep at the top of your mind, which is how many times your customers buy from you. Can they buy from you multiple times? How many referrals do you get, and how strong is that versus how much money you're spending on advertising to get new customers? Right? These are some of the questions, and there's a bunch of them. When a smart buyer comes knocking, they're going to wonder what the quality of the relationship to your customers is. What is that story? And so if we know that, what we want to do is we want to build out the best story possible. Think about if you're buying a company. Do you want, some random, hype, pump and dump sort of advertising company that you can't count on the revenue? There's a reason why private equity firms outperform people that invest in the stock market. There's a reason. And it's not just by a little bit. It's double, sometimes triple the return that they get for their investors in their private equity firms because they know how to ask these questions. So if these are the questions that they're looking for and you're falling in love with the outcome of your ideal customer, then build it to sell to private equity firms. Because guess what? Let's say you don't sell and you don't want to sell. You want to pass it off to you. Your relationship to your customers is primary and primo in optimizing your own cash flow, the amount of free cash flow you can take off the table, the amount of money you can put towards your end game, and your own economic freedom. Number 2, financial clarity and accuracy. Okay? Again, financial clarity and accuracy for the ideal buyer of your business needs to be in place. That means you need to be running your business as it financially speaking, reporting 13-week rolling cash flow, not on cash accounting. You need to be on accrual accounting. There's all of these things that need to be put into place so that when somebody comes a knocking, they go, okay, let me look at your EBITDA, right? A form of financial clarity. Let's look at the relationship to your customers. Let's have that conversation. And then let's look at your books. Are they a mess? Do you even have them? Are they structured according to GAAP, generally accepted practices, right? Generally accepted accounting practices, GAAP, GAAP accounting principles. If they have to do it, guess what? You may have a business worth buying, but you don't know the relationship to your customers, and you don't have financial clarity and accuracy. Guess what? The price that somebody's going to pay is going to go down. It's just like in your house. You didn't put a roof on, right? You let the yard go to hell in a handbasket. The pool in the backyard is completely empty of water and it's got cracks in it. The price of the value of your asset has gone down. If you have these things ready to go, the valuation goes up. And the likelihood of somebody pulling the trigger to pay for your business goes up, right? Number 4, management team. Are you required in your business? Now, sometimes you being required in your business just means that you're selling off a portion of your business to diversify your asset to this private equity firm or to another buyer or to a strategic buyer or to a business broker helped you. But they're going to require you to stay on maybe longer than you want to. You might want to be there 10 years. You might want to just diversify your income and stay there forever, right? This is why endgame is so important. You got to know. You have to understand, because if you go to a buyer and you're like, I want out, and they require you to stay there for another 5 to 10 years, that's not the right buyer. Okay? If you want to stay in and somebody's just like, no, we just want to wrap up your customer base for our density play and boot you out, maybe that's not something you want to do. This is why endgame becomes so crucial, so that you can build your exit for the one listening to me, your one outcome. Okay? 4th, and this is kind of where we're going to wrap it up today. The 4th most important thing that a buyer is going to be looking for after your management team, which means that basically that management team is going to come along with it. We have continuity of activity. We're not going to lose some key players. We're not going to lose some key customers because you're leaving, right? This is the strategic way for you to build your business. You have a management team in place. And by the way, when you have a management team in place, that means you've already got your exit, one level of exit, which is your free time. You own your time when you have a management team in place that doesn't require you to be there. You should be a value add, if anything, right? Okay, fourth piece. The fourth piece is systems. You have to have systems in place that are easily read, right? We've done this in 3-ring binders. If you could see behind me, well, you could see behind this shoulder here in the studio, I've got 3-ring binders still to this day because I'm old school. But SOPs, standard operating procedures, every single handoff, the machine that needs to be built, which is, again, one of the specialties that Built to Exit does, we have to systemize everything. We want everything into a system that is repeating predictable outcomes, which means predictable revenue streams, which means predictable profits, which means predictable operating cash flow, which means predictable free cash flow, which means that if I'm a buyer and I'm a private equity firm and I want to come in, I've got a predictable return on investment from the people that are putting money into this program. See how all of this starts to link together? It all links together. And this fourth piece of systems is also lends itself into this part of the system is training methodology, which means that you can add people into your system without you being there, and they go in, they take the training, they know exactly how to do their job, who what they're taking it from, the handoff that they're taking it from, and the handoff that they're giving it off to, how they did it, do they know that they did a good job? All of the principles inside of that. This is how you sell your business. Everything that I just went through is how you sell your company. Now, let's talk about the market for people that are out there buying companies, right? We'll look in the private equity world. There's somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 private equity firms that are out there. We have relationships with some of them and know exactly what they're looking for when they buy a company. That's why we build companies to exit. It's why we specialize in that particular area. And so when you look at that range of people, which is who you should be building your company to sell to, they're the smartest buyers on the market, okay? And if you're built to sell to them, everything else is easy. Everything else is easy, optimized cash flow, predictability, succession. If you die in your chair, you don't hand over a mess to your family. It's systemized. There's a management team. All of those things. Everything before that is easy. But in that marketplace, let's say you have 4,000 to 6,000 people that are looking. There's in the United States alone, there's about $3 to $4 trillion that they have to buy companies. Now, available cash, which is what they call dry powder in the marketplace, right? Dry powder, there's 1.5 trillion, again, flexing up and down a little bit over time, but there's $1.5 trillion in bank accounts sitting there right now, ready to buy your company. 1.5 trillion. Now, if you go worldwide, which is where my followers, there's a lot of people out of the country that are now following this stuff because they want to know. Worldwide, there's $10 trillion available and about $3.5 trillion worth of dry powder. There's a lot of money looking for your asset because most of the time you don't realize that you have an asset, number one. Number two, most of the time you don't realize the value of your asset. Number three, you don't know how to optimize that for optimal sale. So the returns that people who do know what they're doing get on your asset are higher, double, and sometimes triple what the stock market is giving them. And it's more predictable because your business is dealing it's handling a problem in the marketplace. You already went to the hard work of developing the relationships and buying the thumbtacks and doing all of the stuff. Now all they're going to do is what we teach you to do. They're going to come in and do it, and they're going to take a premium off of that, or you're going to build your business to exactly what they want to purchase to where they don't really have to fix anything, and you're going to get the premium. Are they going to make the money on your business? If you sell it all, by the way, okay? Are they going to get the premium on it, or are you? Are you even going to put your company in a place to be acquired? These are really crucial questions for people who are genuinely in the game of wanting to build to exit, right? And this should be a much clearer version. And why I teach the stuff that I teach every single week on Twitter, on this live show, on these videos, is because I want to help you do what I did, right? I want to help you get to a place. I want to keep our environment vibrant. I want you to succeed, right? And it's not one of those, it's a unique thing. I've had some mentors in my life that really, yes, I've purchased their programs. Yes, I've gone to their seminars. Yes, I've done that kind of stuff. But they were doing it for the love of it. They were doing it because they know that passing this on to our children, and what I mean by this is economic opportunity to be free of a large unethical corporation like Amazon or a centralized government like in Venezuela, right, that controls everything. They were at that place in their life where they were doing it for the love of what provided them the lifestyle that they have. That's where I'm at. I'm in it for the love of what we need to do. Plus, I hate bullies, and we need our community to come together because we're so separate, right? And that's why when we had this government step in here in the United States and tell us that we were non-essential, that nobody stood up to them. 60% of the GDP, 60% of the hiring, there was nobody that had a collective gathering, which is the community that we're building. Right? Part of doing that means making you more money and getting you to a place where you can sell your company. My end game for me is to build our community to a place where we have a voice in that damn government. To where we can say, if they want to come out and say you're non-essential, you go, bullshit. We're 60% of the GDP, 60% of the hiring. All of the hope why people are coming across our borders in the first place is because of us. And this idea of potential, the hope for financial freedom. Not asking permission, but doing the hard things to be able to build up a valuable asset that creates cash flow while I'm building it, and an exit that gives me freedom to be able to do whatever I want. I don't have to ask another man or another woman or anybody on the face of the planet to go anywhere or do anything that I want to do in my life. Nobody. If we have kids to go rescue, I could pay for the whole thing to go get it done myself, and have. And that's a freedom that I want everybody to experience because it wasn't what I was born into. It wasn't what was handed to me. It's something that I fought, and I'm proud of the fact that I have been able to build it, and I know how to teach it. And we know how to help you. My team is world class at being able to get these outcomes. All you got to do is go to LinkedIn and look at our recommendations and look at the people that we have helped. If you're one of those people, join our community. All we're asking is you for join and add your voice to our Saturdays. Come to the events that I go and speak at and that we're going to be throwing for a Built to Exit community, over the next couple of years. As we build this community to be able to have a voice to stand up for people just like us, to keep the playing field free of undue influence. To make sure that our government is focusing on things like the Free Trade Act. To make sure that they're not putting the thumb on the scales against are in competition against us and for unethical capitalist companies like Amazon that are paying these corrupt politicians off. That's why we fight this battle. That's why I want you. I know you're the warriors. I know what you do in your own communities. I know what you do with your family. I know the charities that you support. I know. I am you. I've been with you. I travel this country coast to coast so many times over the last 2 decades. I know who you are. I know your heart. I know what you're trying to achieve. Let us help you. You want to build your company to exit? We're the people. You want to dink around with it and go, like, the biggest misconception in business is I'm going to eventually go to the right seminar that's going to give me that one piece of information that's going to help set me free, right? I'm going to get that one book. I'm going to get that one thing. No, that's not how it happened for me. It's not how it happens for everybody. It's knowing the proper sequencing of the information that you have, the assets that you have at the tip of your fingertips, and the end game that you're building for yourself instead of building for something that you see on Instagram that's fake anyway. This is about you and you making your decisions. We'd love to help. I'm Jason Sisneros. This has been another episode of the Chairman Project podcast. I love you all very much. Go to builttoexit.biz. Put your email address in. You get these show notes along with the finalized podcast. Make sure you're bringing people with you. Bring people into the community. And I hope to see you on stages. If you go to jasonsisneros.com, you look under events, you can see where I'm going to be next. I think we got Canada, North Carolina, and a few other events that are coming up. And if you need me on your podcast, you want me on your stage, just reach out. I'm available. I'm a free man. I love you all very much. See you next week.